My name is Priyam Jyoti. I'm here on behalf of the artist Shelley Jyoti. I'm her daughter, like Laura mentioned before. Before we move any further, I want to make sure that we kind of talk through my mom's background a little bit. Shelley Jyoti is a visual artist, a designer, a poet, and an independent curator whose work very heavily referenced Indian history. Indigo, and as well as her sequel project to this, Salt the Great March, both refer to Gandhi and his movement and his freedom fight and his character within India. Moving on to what Indigo Narratives is. Indigo Narratives draws upon India's history, narratives of immigration, and transnational economic interchanges. This piece of work is broken down into three different bodies of art itself. The first one being an Ode of Neil Darpan series. It's inspired by the literary text Neil Darpan, published in 1860, written by Deen Bandhu Mitra in the form of two site-specific installations, this being one of them. I know we've talked to some of the folks here before, but all the prints here are Ajarak prints, some contemporary, some traditional. But this is a site-specific installation that changes from each site wherever the show goes. The next series is an allusion to Ajarak, which represents indigo dyeing and printing techniques, which you can see downstairs. It primarily shows a resist block printing techniques, which is slightly different than your typical block printing techniques. This technique was brought in by the Ajarak artisans that moved to Gujarat from Sindh and Baluchistan in 1600s. The artisans that my mom worked with during the show were 9th and 10th generation artisans. Since this textile is a dying art right now, the idea behind this is to preserve and showcase what great pieces of art and value and history this brings to our country. The last piece is an allusion to stitches, which is a needlecraft tradition of ethnic groups also from the same time period, also showing what needlecrafts the Ajarak artisans could bring to the table. Overall, I think the theme of today's exhibition, from Shelley Jyoti's perspective, still shows Gandhi's influence, like Mr. Sandhu talked about, how he helped the farmers and how it impacted the freedom movement, this being his first Satyagraha in the Indian domain before he started fighting for India's freedom struggle. Overall, I hope you enjoy this show. I don't have much to add from now, but I believe you want to share a quick poetry from the exhibition. We could do that right now.
Okay. So Shelley is a poet, and this particular piece that we're looking at is dedicated to the farmers on the rights of Champaran, and this is a poem that she's written about that. And she said, we'll play this, and it is as if she is here.
Well, it looks like we're having a little difficulty getting it to play. But if we don't get it, we do have copies of the poem written by Shelley Jyoti on the table over here next to this piece. I'm sorry, it seems to be not coming on.
Is it frozen?
Yeah, I think it's frozen. Well, if we get it, we will play it through the speaker for him. So thank you. Tell Shelley I'm very sorry about that. It should be playing. But we do have copies of the poem, and if we can get it to play over the speaker shortly, we will do that. But we really want to thank Priyam and Laura and Ambassador Sandhu, the Embassy of India and the Indian Council for Cultural Relations for making this exhibit possible to be here in Washington, D.C. at the Gandhi Memorial Center. The exhibit is on both floors, and we have pakoras and samosas for everyone, so please do enjoy, and thank you all for coming.